Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Today, it's me, Zach, and James as well. He's trying to prove that it doesn't hurt to bowl off spin. Uh, no, but yeah, welcome back to the podcast. I'm here replacing Benj for today. Um, and I don't think I have done any reviews of any of the days of the Ashes because I've not been available to do so. So you get to hear my thoughts today, which is great. But thanks for joining. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff. So let's just get straight into it. England versus Australia. Australia won. It hurts, but we can't win all the close ones. I mean, we won Headingley 2019, we won Edgbaston 2005. Can't win all of them, can we, James?
No, certainly not. And it was an incredible test match. Like, getting over the sort of probably 15 minutes after where I was just completely deflated after concentrating intensely on a scintillating test match for 5 solid days when I should be working. It was, I was just exhausted after it. But reflecting on it now, I was like, that was 5 days of real entertainment. It was absolutely incredible. And the way that England and Australia played was absolutely brilliant. And that was one of the great test matches, like one of the best I've ever seen, without a doubt. And hats off to Australia getting it done. In particular, Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon just getting them over the line at the end in what was a very nervy run chase. But they just knuckled down, and it was heartbreaking from an England fan's perspective, but it was incredible.
I've got an opinion after this match.
Go on.
Australia had 3 players: Khawaja, Cummins, and Lyon. No one else really did anything. I mean, Carey provided a bit of support, as did Travis Head. In their first innings of their batting, there were players that provided support. But when you think about who were the points of difference for Australia, the ones who held the team together, it was the bowling of Cummins and Lyon, and it was the batting of Usman Khawaja to defy England having a much greater innings lead in the first innings lead. Let's get the words out. So, yeah, I don't think there was much that England needed to be scared of for Australia. The name everyone was talking about was Scott Boland, and he was taken apart by England. Maybe that was a bit of revenge after how well he bowled when England were down under. But I don't know what your thoughts are for Australia going forward. Do you think there is much for England to be worried about?
Without a doubt. I mean, they won this game.
Yeah.
So there's plenty for England to be worried about. It was less scary than last time. And that's a significant change. I did note at various points during England's batting innings that I wasn't scared, even though there was, without a doubt, we were against an incredible bowling lineup. There was a chance for a wicket at any given moment. I wasn't scared, and the whole time on the last Ashes tour, I could barely watch England bat. I could watch 5-minute stints before I had to go up and walk around the room or leave or have a cold shower, just something that wasn't watching England bat, just because it's the most nerve-wracking thing. And this time I wasn't like that. And I've got to say that actually I think a slightly more spicy pitch would have helped both teams.
Oh, definitely.
And England's batting would have potentially been even more effective on a slightly greener pitch. So yeah, it was, but yeah, plenty to be scared of, obviously. And Nathan Lyon being as good as he is, he holds that bowling lineup up.
He's the glue, isn't he? Yeah,
he really is, and it almost highlights why we missed Jack Leach in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Lyon, he's just going to dangle the carrot, isn't he? Because England are going to play the way they're playing. And when you think about a team like Australia, they're a solid team. In our build up to this first test. It was very much like there aren't many weaknesses in that Australian lineup. I know that Labuschagne and Smith had quiet games, but they're really solid at 3 and 4, and all of their bowlers can perform. So they're solid from 1 to 11. However, England played very well in this game. I thought they were dictating play for most of it. However, the way they play, you always feel like Australia are still in the game. And I think in previous years, supporting England, you get to the end of the game and you'd think of all these objective reasons as to why England lost. Whereas now I've got over the frustration of England losing. I've come down from it a little bit. Like I'm quite calm because like I have bought into Bazball. Like I could be upset and think, oh, the England management's wrong. They should be looking at these players in county cricket. I'm not thinking that at the moment, which is because I just trust the system. And in a way, you have to, if you're an England fan watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you have to understand that England aren't going to change the way they're playing. I think Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum are still learning. Ben Stokes is still 1 year into his captaincy. Brendan McCullum's never been a test coach before. So they're still learning and there will still be things that they need to sort out. But at the same time, the intent behind Bazball isn't going to change. And I think it's quite refreshing in a way.
Yeah, and I'd much rather lose a game like that than almost cowering to a loss like we did under Root's captaincy.
Yeah.
And many years before that. There were so many defeats that we had that were just pathetic. And they were harder to watch. Whereas this one, it went right down to the wire. And yeah, we lost at the end, but it was still an incredible game. And, that there were so many highlights from that. We can look back at many decisions that were made and pinpoint, maybe that's where we lost it. Maybe that's where we lost it. A lot of people highlight the declaration in the first innings. That was, almost a definite pinpoint where you could say things changed there. Or some of the dismissals that you would say they were more than positive. They were like more than the positive.
They were costly dismissals, weren't they?
Yeah, they were borderline just silly, and I don't think. I know that Ben Stokes says that you shouldn't say that was a bad shot, but I don't think there's anything wrong with saying there's a poor decision, even in Bazball. Like if you to turn around and just knock your bails off with your bat, you'd say that was a poor decision, even in Bazball times. So I'd say running down unnecessarily is a bad decision sometimes. So yeah, I'd say there are plenty of lessons to be learned, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of gloating Australians in the comments. But I kind of look forward to the next match because there is that sort of talking point of Moeen Ali.
Yes.
Obviously, his spinning finger looked absolutely raw. And I would be very surprised if he plays the next match.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't even bowl by the end of it, could he?
No, he took
Joe Root.
He took 3 for 200. They were his match figures, which isn't that bad to say it's his first game back and he's got a poor record against Australia. I mean, I don't know what England were necessarily hoping for with Moeen Ali. I guess they had him more for his batting than his bowling, in my thoughts. And he's a spinner who's experienced in Test match cricket. I don't know if he's going to play the next game. I feel like if they want to stick with at least 2 of the seamers they've got, then they've got to pick a 4th seamer, because Stuart Broad, for me, he's been England's player of the match. I know Joe Root scored his century in the first innings, but the way Stuart Broad's bowled this match has been incredible to watch. Really enjoyed. And if they bowl, so for me, he's got to play the next game. But he's had so many overs in his legs. Anderson wasn't his usual self in this game. Ollie Robinson's probably still got niggles going on. So if they're going to play 2 or 3 of them, then they need to play a 4th seamer, in which case Joe Root will become the main spinner. And that's probably the way they're going to go. That's the way I see it.
So
I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree. I can see one of Robinson or Anderson being rested for the next match.
Yeah.
For Wood.
Tong or Potts.
I don't see Tongue playing, to be honest. I honestly I would hope to see Wood and Wokes playing.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially because it's at Lords, where Wokes' record is
Very good.
unbelievably good. He averages like it's like under 18 with the ball and over 60 with the bat, or something
Yeah.
obscene like that.
I guess if anyone is a James Anderson like for like replacement, it's probably Wokes, isn't it?
Yeah, and he then fits in with the batting deep thing that Moeen Ali gave us.
Mm.
And then yeah, I think Mark Wood. We were crying out for a little bit of a point of difference at various points. It would have been nice to have Wood bowling 95-mile-an-hour bumpers instead of Robinson bowling 77-mile-an-hour bumpers, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what England do with their bowling. I think their batting is going to stay the same. Australia, if they make any changes, it will probably be Hazelwood for Stark or Boland for Stark or something like that. But yeah, I think the teams will stay relatively similar throughout the entire Ashes, which again harks back to similarities of 2005. I mean, this game has gone right down to the wire, and we're probably going to expect that 3 or 4 times out of the 5 Test matches, which is a really exciting prospect. So stay tuned because we're going to bring you more stuff on this. The Ashes is great. We love it. So yeah, we're going to bring lots of podcasts. So make sure that you subscribe. I've already said that already, but make sure you subscribe. And also, that we've had quite a few new subscribers, so you might not know about Cricket Nerds questions. Basically, you leave a question in the comments with a hashtag CNQ, and we will answer it in a future podcast. So make sure you do that. You can also listen to us if you're watching us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast you like to listen to. And I think that's everything. Anything to add, James?
Nah, just see you next time.